Both fathers were fair-sized gun collectors and had taught their sons how to shoot in the large, well-appointed firing range situated behind the store. David's father owned a number of handguns and rifles, but only Jim's father owned an AR-15. Neither father felt the need to lock their guns in a safe, but instead put them on proud display in their respective family rooms and made certain that the guns were not loaded. Both David and Jim were sternly warned never to touch the guns unless under parental supervision, which meant the two fathers. Britt Hastings, despite being a church pastor, never experienced a single scruple about owning guns. Why should he? Gun ownership was a God-given right and protected under the Constitution, and he loved guns. He had always loved guns. Utah loved guns, and he taught his son David to love guns. Jim's father and his family attended Britt's church, and the two men held almost identical political and social views, but otherwise were not friends. Jim's father sold tires at Sam's Club, which was right around the corner from Get Some and not far from the Church of Divine Friendship. As David and Jim were about to enter the gun store, David said, "What if this entire store blew up?" Jim looked at him with surprise. "What do you mean?" "I mean, if this entire place blew up and it just came raining down with guns and ammo and all kinds of shit, if you got here quick enough, you could just go around and pick up anything you wanted. I mean, Glocks and Rugers and SR-15s and scoop up all the ammo you'd ever need." "You're crazy, dude," said Jim. "For one thing, that would be stealing, and for another, where would you put all that stuff?" And so Jim was both moral and practical. David was a little crestfallen. For a moment, he had felt positively inspired. Jim picked up on this. "That's all right," he said. "It was a good idea anyway." Opening the door, they were immediately hit by a powerful blast of air conditioning. It was hot outside. The store was no different than it had ever been, but to the two boys, it felt different. They had never in the past entered the store as potential customers. They had never been the object of anyone's attention. They had never seemed important enough to warrant anyone's attention. They had always been their father's silent, somewhat blank-faced hangers-on. The owner of the store, whom they had known for many years, approached the two boys, but it was plain from the outset that he didn't recognize them. At this time of day, the store was very quiet. "Well, hello, gentlemen. What can I do you for?" It was a typical greeting. "We're just looking around," answered Jim. Sure. Look around all you want. Looking for anything special?" This was far too pointed a question. "My dad comes in here," David said, not without a hint of self-importance. The owner nodded his head, smiling at them. "Pastor Britt," supplied Jim. "And my dad comes in too." "Oh, so they come in together?" said the owner. "No," said Jim. "Yeah, that's right. He usually comes in alone. Nice guy. I go to your church." He turned a somewhat deferential smile on David. "It seems to me that your dad likes Glocks." "Yes," answered David. "He has quite a few Glocks." He then named them with a surprising precision. "A Glock 43, a Glock 22, a Glock 26, a Glock 17. His recitation finished, David seemed to emerge from a kind of trance. "And he bought them all here?" the manager said. "Yes, sir," David replied. "And he taught me to shoot them here, all four." "I forget your name, son." "David." "So, David Hastings. Good name. Doesn't sound like you need any more Glocks in the family. Anything else you like?" "I like Lugers," said David. This produced on the manager's knowing lips a benign smile. "You mean German Lugers," the manager said. For just a moment, David felt somewhat confused. Yes, right, I guess so. German Lugers." The manager smiled again.